James from 106.5 Corn Country, and I have the distinct honor and pleasure of interviewing the Jay Allen.
Mhm.
Jay, the country music star that is actually from 20 minutes away from our station here originally, now living, of course, in Nashville. And you have a birthday coming up tomorrow. You'll be 37.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. You share the same birthday as my youngest son, Jonathan, who'll be 35 tomorrow.
Oh, how cool. I would
I
have
know.
never guessed you have a 35-year-old. Holy
I
smoke.
have a 41-year-old.
No way.
No, I do.
Oh my goodness. I need the
Right.
Kool-Aid you're drinking, baby.
Right? My eldest is Dr. Jared Smith, the superintendent of schools in Waterloo. I don't know if you had the honor to meet him yet, but he would love to meet you at some point. He's huge into country music.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah, let's make it happen. Okay, now without further ado, background. Oh my gosh, I loved researching your life. It's so inspirational. You
Oh.
actually caught the bug for singing and performing at age 11 in a church. Tell us a little bit about that, Jay.
Yeah, so my dad actually was co-owner of a restaurant called Joe's Country Grill back in the day.
Oh,
And
wow.
that's actually how my parents met. My dad hired my mother to be a waitress. And so
Oh,
they
sweet.
fell in love working in that restaurant and thus me. So first couple years of my life I grew up, they had to be at the restaurant like 4 in the morning. So I'd go in with them. And the old guys start trickling in, ordering their coffee and breakfast. And there was a couple that would come in quite often, and they would always invite my parents to come to church with them. And it really wasn't their cup of tea back then. So they started working on me. And my parents allowed me to go to church with them. Their names were Ron and Lila Fouts.
Oh,
And so I started, they've both since passed away, unfortunately, but they kind of, were a second set of parents for me. And so every Sunday morning we would sit in the very front pew, this Baptist church, Hagerman Baptist Church in Waterloo, Iowa. And
oh,
we would sing out of hymns. And one morning, I had such a high voice back then for a kid. I was singing all the female parts
oh my
out of
God.
the hymn. And I remember Ron looked down and goes, "Jay, you can sing, buddy." He goes, "I'm going to put you on stage next Sunday in front of everyone." And he
Oh my
did.
gosh,
I was terrified. I'd never sang in front of anyone.
baby.
But I guess it sounded okay because that was the first time I had a little standing ovation. Whether it sounded good or not, that made me feel like
Oh,
it sounded good. So
sweet.
yeah, so that's when I realized I had a voice, and it kind of just escalated from there. I was very, very involved in the music programs at the churches that I went to, and then eventually my parents did start coming to church with us, and then it spurred on to me becoming. I was a music director at the University of Northern Iowa. I was a part of a program called Basic Brothers and Sisters in Christ. I
Oh,
interned at Orchard Hill Church in Cedar Falls, and
wow.
that led to me doing it for a career. I ended up down in Savannah, Georgia, working at a mega church, and then I really fell in love with the South. So
Yeah.
and Mama raised me on country music. Dad was a hippie, Mama loved country music. Mama had a little clock on her end table. She had to be blending the local country radio station to fall asleep at night. So I don't
Aw.
think my dad slept a wink in 30 years because of that. But so I
Right?
think I think eventually, working in the church, which led me down to the South, really falling in love with the Southern culture, and then having that background of growing up listening to country music, it kind of eventually led me here to Nashville. So
Wow, what a beautiful story. And your daddy's name is Joe?
yes,
Your mama is the late Sherry. God bless her. May she rest in peace. She passed tragically of Alzheimer's disease, correct?
yes, ma'am.
In
Yeah.
2019. Well, I share your pain. My father passed tragically of Alzheimer's disease as well in
Oh,
2017. And
sorry.
it was the most horrific. He'd beat cancer. He was a cancer survivor. We thought he had a nice long life ahead of him. He was just in his 80s, early 80s, and then Alzheimer's took him away from us. I know the pain that you're feeling, but you were able to take that pain and transcend your trials, so to speak, in a creative medium and write the song Blank Stares. Tell us about that song. It was high up in the iTunes charts recently. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so I moved to Nashville. My 10-year anniversary in Nashville will actually be this month, June 13th. So
Wonderful.
I moved to Nashville 10 years ago. I had a guitar and a suitcase and knew no one. And I just immediately went to work, meeting everyone I could. And there's kind of a system here in Nashville, how you kind of work your way up the ranks. And
Sure.
the first thing is you got to know the right people, and then you want to, if you're a songwriter, you want to get a publishing deal, and then if you want to be an artist, you need a manager and a booking agent and a label. And to get those things, you need to write great songs and be talented.
Right.
So I just started doing that. For me, I felt kind of lost because it seemed very selfish. There didn't really seem to be a point other than benefiting me. And so I'll never forget a phone call. My dad called me, and I've been in Nashville for a couple of years. And he called me and said, Jay, I feel obligated to tell you, your mom called me this morning. She'd been going to the same place of work for years and years and years. Called and said, I had to pull over. She was crying and said, I don't know where I am. I don't know where I'm going. Please pick
Oh
me.
no. Oh no.
So that's when she was initially diagnosed with what's called early onset Alzheimer's. They call it early onset for her because she was so young. She was only 51 years old.
Oh my gosh.
It took her life in 2 years and 9 months. She went from being this perfect mother to aging about 20 years in a very short span of time. And we just watched her kind of just whittle away. But when they came to visit me in Nashville and I got to see her in person sick for the first time, it really devastated me, obviously. People that have Alzheimer's or dementia, they have this really glossy look in their eyes. And I remember opening up the door of my home. I was expecting the look of a mother, how she looks at a child. And I got this just empty stare. I called it a blank stare. And so we kind of fled. For me, you have two options in life. It's fight or flight. I'm always fight. Like, what can I do to get through this and to fix it? In that moment, I think I was so heartbroken and upset.
Of course.
I didn't know how to face it. So I said, Dad, let's get out of here. We took her to a well-known bar here in town called the Sutler Saloon here in Nashville.
Okay.
I thought I experienced the power of music in my life because, like I said, I was a music director at churches. I create a culture with music to help people worship God.
Yes.
And so I thought I knew what the power of music was, and I actually hadn't until this very moment. So we show up to this venue. I open up the door, and Mama takes one step in, and she heard the music, and she saw the band on stage, and that glossy, blank look in her eyes went away. And
Oh,
I
beautiful.
saw it happen, and so
Yes.
I'm the oldest. I have two little sisters, and I've always tried to. If we have any dissolution or issue in our family, I'm the one that fixes it. You always find a way. And so that moment, I saw what was happening, and so I took advantage of the moment. I grabbed her by the hand, I pulled her to the front of the venue, right in front of the stage in front of everyone. We started slow dancing to a fast song. And the band caught on. I think the band could tell, there's something going on here, and they slowed the music down. And I just felt in that moment, I felt my mother take a deep breath, big weighty breath. She pulled me in, and she said, "Oh, Jay, I've missed you. Oh, son, it's so good to see you."
Yeah.
For that moment, I had my mama back.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It was a beautiful moment for me, and it lit this fire in my belly where I suddenly felt called to do something.
Right.
And that was to write a song. I won't preach, but I will always share my faith. I believe God gives us gifts to offer those gifts into the world to benefit others. And so I wrote this song out of heartache, out of therapy, out of hope, called Blank Stares. And for me, it was a sad experience, but it was a beautiful thought, and it was a positive thought, and it was, I still see you. I still see you in there in between those blank stares, and I'm going to fight for you. And so this song came out, and I can't really explain it. I was talking beforehand about I moved to Nashville, and I was trying to do what everyone else was doing, write songs for myself to benefit myself. This was the first time I wrote a song that was not for me.
Right.
And God took that song and put it in the hands of the right people at the right time.
Yeah.
And before I know it, I look up and, I've played all around the country. I've toured this country 4 times over. I've been in every single state. I've partnered with the National Alzheimer's Association. We've been on NBC's The Voice. I've been on People Magazine, People TV, Forbes. And now it's one of those things where I pinch myself to think that, wow, I think we all want a purpose.
Yes.
We all strive. What's the reason why we were put here? What we were supposed to do? What are we supposed to accomplish? And now I get to look back and see, man, I found my purpose. God gave me a purpose. He gave me a meaning to my life through the life of my mother. And now I get to help other people. And we've raised. I found out recently because I went on The Voice. I said on the show that I had roughly estimated that we had raised about $50 million. Well, the voice called me, their legal counsel called me and said, "You and your attorney need to actually do a fact check with us before we air your blind audition where you
Okay.
said you raised that." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I hope I was right." Well, my attorney called me shortly after and he said, "Jay, I stayed up all night and I did the fact check and you actually raised double that."
Oh
So,
my gosh.
yeah, since 2018, we've raised $100 million to help fight against cancer.
Oh my gosh. Congratulations.
And the craziest thing is, I started out trying to do something for myself,
Yeah.
didn't work out. I
Yeah.
did something for my mother, and it's turned into this beautiful purpose and a career and a
Beautiful.
partnership with the National Alzheimer's Association and shining light on caregivers. And going on The Voice, it helped me to also see myself a little differently. That be through this journey of becoming a philanthropist, I've also become an artist. So after I came home off The Voice and the episodes aired, I was contacted by the head of a record label who's become a really good friend of mine over the years. And he
Wonderful.
came to Nashville to sit down and offer me a record deal. So I just got to announce that I signed a
Yay.
record deal as well. So
Ah,
it has been a wild, very wild journey, but it's
fabulous.
been beautiful and rewarding, and it's made a man out of me. So,
Yes.
yeah,
Oh my gosh, Shay, that is so lovely. And you got married in November of 2022
I
to
did.
the very illustrious and beautifully talented Kylie. And she actually was quoted as saying the following, Kylie Morgan, quote, "I was the girl who swore she would never get married because I was already married to my dreams." She told this to People magazine. Kylie Morgan, your gorgeous wife. How did you reach in and get her if she was so determined not to marry?
Yeah, she's a tough cookie, I'll tell you that. So
Right?
Kylie is from a little town in Oklahoma. Um, she told her mother when she was 12, "I'm going to skip college and I'm going to move to Nashville as soon as I can because I'm going to be
Oh,
a country singer." And
yeah.
she did just that. She's had
Sweet,
one goal since she was a little girl to do
sweet.
what she's doing now. She's been signed to EMI Records for 5 years. She now has a single that's on country radio called "If He Wanted to, He Would." She
Beautiful,
has accomplished that goal that she set out to accomplish.
beautiful,
And I've
beautiful.
got to be her cheerleader along the way and
Great.
watch and learn. While I've been, being a philanthropist and doing my thing,
Mhm.
she's been, kicking butt to write music and release music. And she is that. I mean, she is. She's married to a dream and a vision, and she
Yes.
is a strong woman, and nothing will detour her. But also, I think she's realized you can still be independent with
Mhm.
someone else. You
Right.
know,
Exactly.
she actually wrote a song about that too.
Ooh, I'm gonna check that one out.
For me, I think the biggest turn on is independent woman.
Mhm.
She knows what she wants and she takes it. And so we've
Yeah,
been on a journey, her and I together. We got married. We were supposed to get married October 1st on
I
Fort
saw.
Myers Beach.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Hurricane Ian came through and wiped out our wedding venue and lots of our friends' businesses and homes down there.
Oh no.
But because I was on The Voice at the time and Kylie had her single working at country radio, media kind of caught wind and we did
Caught
several
wind. No
interviews.
pun intended. No
Yep,
pun intended.
a wedding venue more inland that wasn't affected by the hurricane reached out and they offered to host us for free of charge. And so
Oh,
our wedding was the Sunday after Thanksgiving. Couldn't have been more stunning. I
oh,
mean, I was just
how
like,
beautiful.
I remember stepping back with her, just watching, and just like tears in her eyes. Like they say, if it rains on your wedding, it's good luck. Well, how about a hurricane? We should have
Right?
bought a lottery ticket or something. So, yeah,
So you know that God has something very special planned for the two of you in your long marriage. Congratulations.
thanks, Vicky.
That is just so beautiful. I love it. It just makes my heart race. It's so
Oh,
beautiful. Yes. Okay, so how did the two of you meet?
Kylie and I actually, this is a funny story. So
Okay.
I just signed my first publishing deal to a little company here in town called NV2 Entertainment. I was the first songwriter they signed. So I walked in this building on Music Row, and the lights weren't even on this place yet. And I was like, oh my God.
Okay.
It ended up working out perfectly. I fell in love with the guys that ran the place. And now they have tons of hits and tons of songwriters. But I was the very first one they signed back in the day.
Sweet.
So they had a big open house, and they invited a lot of industry people around Nashville. And Kylie's manager at the time was one of them. So it was it was like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Kylie had finished her writing session, so her manager invited her to come out, and she said, "Actually, that's not really my thing," and she was just gonna go home. And he goes, "Well, there's free red wine," and she goes, she said, "Okay, I'm in. I love wine." So Kylie and I actually met because of free red wine.
Oh my God. You
Yeah,
have got to write a song called that. Free red
hilarious.
wine.
I was walking down the stairs in the house that she walked in, called eyes. Her story is she saw me and thought, "Oh my gosh, that's my husband." So
She did? Immediately she fell in love with you?
yeah, the
Oh
girl
my
that was
God.
married to her dream saw
Oh,
me, and that's another thing that gives me faith. Is just like I believe in soulmates. Just
I do too.
I always felt like I was missing something,
Yes,
and I
right.
couldn't put my finger on it until I had her.
There
And
you go.
we feel like a whole piece together.
Oh my gosh, soulmates, right? Oh, this is gorgeous. And the Lord was involved in all of that meeting. He had a plan for the two of you. And wow, I love it so much. Of course, I don't want to preach, but I'm a pretty strong Christian gal, and I know that you're a very strong Christian man as well.
Yeah.
So we can thank the Lord for all of your talents. Okay, so let's talk about what you're going to be doing for us locally here. We are so excited about the Cedar Basin Music Festival, Jam at the Dam. It's coming up Friday, June 23rd here in Cedar Falls. And we have some sponsors. We always want to thank our sponsors because what would we do with these events if we didn't have the kindness of sponsors and the generosity, the philanthropy, if you will? So Green State Credit Union and North Shore Boat Club are making sure this free concert happens for everyone who's interested in coming to see you, Jay Allen. You are the headliner. You follow Dry Run Creek. And we are so pumped up for you to come. Tell me what your thoughts are on that exciting forthcoming event.
Yeah, so I mean, I went to the University of Northern Iowa, and like I always wanted to be the guy that was, I always felt it inside of me that I would eventually be the guy singing songs on stages. And I remember just like seeing stages around the Cedar Valley, thinking, man, that'd be awesome if that was me someday. So
Ooh,
now I get to come back to my hometown, where I grew up, and put on a show. I'm very, very proud of our show. We have a five-piece band. We play for over 2 hours. It's a lot of up tempo songs and covers. Everyone's covered in tattoos, and it's rock and roll meets country. It's such a fun, lively show. I've
oh,
worked on this show really hard. I actually just came from rehearsal. We just had rehearsal just now.
sweet.
And like I said, we've been playing all around the country. So I'm excited to bring what I've created to Cedar Falls. I think it's going to be a blast. A lot of people may know me for the cause and for the fight against Alzheimer's, but after signing this deal, we sat down, we talked, and my show is really fun. And that's a side of me, and not a lot of people know. If you're close to me, I would go out of my way to make sure everyone's always having a good time and having a
Oh,
party. So
absolutely.
the next song we're releasing is a super fun song, one of the silliest songs I've ever written in my life, called Jello Shot. And I played it for the label, and they're like, "That's the one." So we shot this really fun music video. So that song will actually be released June 16th, so it'll be out by the time I come to see y'all.
Oh,
So
wonderful.
yeah.
Sweet. So I'm sure it's on the set list.
Yes, it's on the set list.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully everyone shows up and is ready to have a good time because it's
Oh,
a party.
you know it.
Yeah.
Everyone is going to be so excited to see you, Jay. You are just such an incredible performer and philanthropist. We are all so grateful that you're coming back. I used to be a professor at the University of Northern Iowa. Did
Oh,
you
really?
happen to? I would have remembered you, but I taught humanities courses primarily.
Oh,
Um, yeah. So what years were you at, you and I?
it would have been 2005, 2004, 2008.
Okay. I started teaching in 2011, so
Oh,
I
just
just
missed
missed
you.
you. Did you like your humanities courses? You can say yes, but most kids never liked them.
That seems so far in the past. I don't even. I mean, I always loved school and the atmosphere. So
Ooh,
yeah, but
okay.
yeah, I'm sure I
Well,
did.
I'm sure you did, right? And then I also taught writing, and I'm sure you love to write because you write your songs, right?
Yes, I've
So,
always enjoyed it. I've always enjoyed writing. Yes.
sweet. So, who are your influences, Jay?
So musically, like I said, I grew up with a mother who could not live without the country radio on.
Right.
So for me, like the storytelling behind, especially like the old classic '90s. I mean, she loved like Travis Tritt and Clint Black, and George Strait, and Garth Brooks. Who, crazy enough, I've met Garth Brooks twice now.
You have?
He was at the first ever Alzheimer's Association gala that I performed at in San Jose, California. He was sitting in the front row, and
Oh my gosh.
it was like, what is happening? You know, because
Right, right,
you come from smaller town in Iowa, and like you listen to Garth Brooks on the radio, he's a
right.
bigger than life
Yeah,
personality, and so to
right.
be like face to face with someone like that, it was like, oh my gosh, I've made it.
Yes, you've made
So
it.
he actually came on stage after that and gave me a hug and said he was praying for my mom, and
Oh,
pretty cool thing. So I have that influence, but then my dad is a hippie, like rock
yes,
and roll through and
yeah.
through. Like I've been equally influenced by both. My first concert was actually in Waterloo. It was he took me to Kansas, opening up for Styx. So 11 years old, fifth bumping to Mr. Roboto.
Oh
Uh,
my gosh, how
yeah,
beautiful.
he has an insane vinyl collection. I mean, he introduced me to classic rock bands like
Oh,
AC/DC and ZZ
I love it.
Top and Aerosmith and
I love it.
Jethro Tull. And so I've kind of feel like it's that's become the sound and the energy of
Yeah,
my show and the music that I'm putting out.
sweet.
And then obviously I'm a Christian and grew up in the church and was a music director, so I have some very
Right.
worshipful and spiritual moments in my set as well, and songs that I wrote.
So eclectic. You kind of defy all genres to a certain degree.
Oh, well,
Uh-huh.
I think as an artist, it's just really important that you're authentic, that you're yourself, and that's when music connects is when you're being real. So,
Right. So
yeah.
beautiful. So, which of your songs, well, obviously Blank Stares is your favorite, but other than that, your next one coming out, or is there another one that you feel really strongly about?
Yeah, I mean, most, if not all, of the songs that I've released have been released with purpose. And I always say I don't care how many people hear the song, I care that the right people hear the song.
Right.
So, an emotional connection to a song that I put out a while ago. I actually have this new, refreshed connection to it. It's more of a rocker, but it's called "Tattoos to Heaven," and it initially came out of me just
Oh,
wanting to explain why I have tattoos. I mean,
yes.
they're all things I've been through in life.
So
Every time I went through something good or bad,
yes.
I wanted to put it on my body because I want to wake up in the morning, look in the mirror, and be reminded of what God brought me through to make me who I am.
Right.
So I thought I need to explain myself.
Yeah.
So I wrote a song called Tattoos to Heaven. I'll take these tattoos to heaven. Obviously, you can't take your physical body with you when
Yeah.
you go,
Yeah.
but for me, it's like I want to leave an impression on the world. And so I released a song, and I got an email. It's from my manager. It's a forwarded email from this guy, and it went like this. It said, "Jay, you don't know me. I just heard your song Tattoos to Heaven. My name is Don Caskey from Toledo, Ohio. I was diagnosed with stage 4 terminal kidney cancer."
Oh,
So he had two questions. He said instead of beating himself up and being all depressed, knowing that he was going to pass away from cancer, he decided he wanted to make human connections and leave his mark on the world and leave a legacy. So he started getting matching tattoos with strangers all around the country.
oh,
Yeah, even around the world.
oh my
So by the
God.
time he reached out to me, he had 279 matching tattoos.
Oh, wow.
So he quit his job. He basically traveled, slept in the back of his car, would go to a city, make a
Oh,
post, and then get matching tattoos, create relationships with all these people. And so he had a question. He said, "Number one, can I make tattoos to heaven my theme song?" So every time he was in a different city or town, he was on the news every time, and he'd have tattoos to heaven playing in the background.
yay.
And then the second question was, "Can we get a matching tattoo, me and you?"
Of course.
So I
Yeah.
brought him to Nashville. The first time we met, we got matching tattoos.
So beautiful.
And he followed us the next day to Peoria, Illinois. We played a full band show at this nice theater, and I brought him on stage with me. I told this story and sang the song. It was so funny when I went to show my tattoo.
Yeah.
Don went to show his and took off his whole shirt in front of everyone.
Right.
And he kept his shirt off the whole time on Facebook Live. It was so funny.
Oh my gosh.
But him and I became very close friends, like brothers.
Oh, I
He
bet.
even came to our wedding, and
Oh,
that was unfortunately the last time I got to see him because he
of
passed away. Uh,
course.
so now every time I sing that song, I think about Don,
Of
and
course you do.
I had one prayer. I said, "Let this song touch one person's life,"
Yeah.
and it touched his. So
Yes.
I have a very personal connection to that song.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And you and your wife have matching tattoos that say "till death."
Yes, till death.
Yes, there it is, "till death." Oh,
Yeah.
that's so beautiful. When my daughter, youngest daughter, Rachel, turned 18, I drew a tattoo. I don't have any but that one for my baby girl. She said,
Oh,
Mama, you said you'd never get one. I said, honey, you want it, so I'm going to do it for you. So we
oh,
got our beautiful apple tree, which we didn't know was going to die the next year of apple rust. We didn't
oh,
know that at the time. And I painted our beautiful apple blossoms, and then we put our signatures on each other's bodies, and then we said, love you more, because that's our pet phrase. But
splendid.
we had no idea that that tree would die the next year, but we'll always have the blossoms on our bodies that match.
That's beautiful. I love
Yeah,
that.
thank you so much. Oh my gosh, it's been such a pleasure. I can't wait to see you at this upcoming concert again, ladies and gentlemen, Friday, June 23rd, the Cedar Basin Music Festival. And that one is taking place, of course, at Sturgis Park, where it's been for years, right near the Ice Castle or Ice House. And it's free. And oh my gosh, Jay Allen will be the headliner starting at 9 p.m. right after Dry Run Creek. And we also have some beautiful sponsors to thank again, Green State Credit Union and North Shore Boat Club, without which we would not be celebrating this beautiful event coming up with Jay Allen. I can't wait.
I'm pumped.
Oh, same here. Any last words for our 106.5 Corn Country audience, Jay?
Yeah, I just want to say, Cedar Valley, thank you so much for hosting me. It's going to be a party, and for I always bring a beautiful cause with too. Bring all your friends and all your family, and let's have the time of our lives. Because why
Yes,
not? You only get one spin around this rock. You might as well
yes,
make the most out of it, right? So,
yes.
yeah.
There you go. It's going to happen. I can't wait, Jay. It's been an honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Vicky. It was a pleasure. You're an angel.
Oh, well, thank you. You are an angel. And happy birthday tomorrow. Have a beautiful 37th birthday.
Thank you, Vicky.
God continue to bless you with many more years of creativity, love, and philanthropy.
Thank you. So
Oh,
kind of you.
yes. Okay, honey. Talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
Okay. Bye bye.